So hello there. Okay, so today we are making a bag hat, but we're going to do it properly, okay? Yeah. I have made a bag hat video before, and it basically is just a sort of first sew. So yeah, sorry, I'm moving the camera. I'm ahead of myself. Alright, yes, please like and subscribe. It does help the channel. It keeps our analytics up and everything else like that. And it also means that you can have the videos straight away as they come up. At the moment, they're Monday, and then if there's a little video, like the Easy Sew hat, then I'm going to put that up on a Thursday. So there are a couple going up on Thursday, but they are really small videos, and you know, I don't want to cheat you or anything. Okay, so yes, a bag hat. I know, how simple. Now, yeah, I think I'll just do it. I won't bother with saying that. Okay, so we've got, oh, I could have kept the camera up then. I hope you guys don't get vertigo. Okay, so we've got a t-shirt material, and it doesn't really need to be a lightweight material. Now, as you can see, the rim on this is pretty horrid, so I'm going to give myself an inch to get rid of that, yeah, and then I'm going to give myself another inch to do as the seam allowance. So I need the widest part of my head, and the best way to do it, if you haven't got a tape measure to hand, is to use your finger and use your head, really. Okay, so I've got where I need it to be. Now, the easy thing about making a bag hat is that you don't have to measure the crown. You can make it as big as you want, and in fact, if you're a festival goer, we have festivals in England, and they're not just for young people, trust me, nowadays. You know, there's festivals for arts and stuff. So yes, silly hats are a thing here. Okay, so I'm just going to double check that because I was talking so much that I wasn't concentrating. Yeah, no, if you're first time watching my videos, I'm sorry, that happens a lot. So, double check. Yeah, cut once, measure twice. So, I've got my sewing machine all set up on a nice running stitch. That's all we're using today. Now, of course, the nice thing about t-shirt material is it doesn't fray. One thing it does do, though, when you're sewing it, it can roll. If you tuck it, it can roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to guesstimate how much of the hat I need. Now, I have made hats before, so I know that there's quite a lot you need, and then I'm going to double it. All right, you're staying down now, so I apologise if you get vertigo. I know I do. Oh, you should warn me before you move the camera. Okay, so that's the length I'm going to use. I'm going to go to there. Yeah, that makes sense. And then I'm just going to cut down. Now, obviously, using a flat surface is a good idea when you're doing when you're doing cutting. And if you have a Pacific pair of fabric scissors, just keep them for the fabric. You know, they don't need to be expensive, but if you can just use them for fabric, they'll stay sharp longer. And obviously, if they're sharp, you'll get a nice cutting edge. Okay, so all I'm doing now is I've folded the fabric over, and I'm just going to trim this. I'm pretty sure it has a name, but I'm just going to go for the seam, the edge. Yeah, it's on this fabric, it's just gluey and horrible. Okay, now so that I've got a nice flat edge, a nice flat seam at the end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a double stitch seam. Now, this is one of my favourites. It's a very strong seam, and it lies nice and flat. So like I said, all I've got on my sewing machine is a nice running stitch. I've layered the fabric so that it is slightly over behind. I think you can see the pattern from the one behind, and then I'm doing just a running stitch along the outer fabric. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to open this out, and this wider seam I'm going to fold over this smaller seam and then tuck it in. This way I've got a nice flat seam at the end, and it's a very strong seam. Now while I'm sewing this, I do have to be careful that I'm not tucking anything else in. There's going to be a point later on where it would be quite easy to do that. So I have to pull the back away, and I have to make sure that this is flat and I'm not picking up anything else. So all I can do is a couple of inches at a time, and that's fine. That's all I will do, you know. It's one of those things you could get upset about, but it's your choice to get upset about it or not. And as it's only a small seam, because it's only a hat, it's a relatively small seam, isn't it? It is on this side. Okay, no, let's find my words. It's a relatively short seam, even though it's quite a tricky one in the tucking. Give up then. Okay, so I've still got the hat inside out. What I've got here is I've got my seam, and I'm going to guesstimate again where the middle is, and then I'm going to fold it into quarters just to confirm that the seam is in the middle, because I want the seam at the back, I want it out of the way, and I want that nice flat seam so it doesn't rub whilst it's on. Okay, so that's that. Now, okay, I don't really have a pattern here. Well, I do have a pattern, but if there's a favourite part of your pattern that you would like at the bottom or the top, we're now sewing the top seam, so do keep in mind that a favourite pattern part of the hat you'd have to make sure is at the bottom. So the bottom seam at the bottom and the top seam at the top. That's where I'm going with that. But if there was a picture, you'd want it the right way round. Okay, folding it the right way round. Good time to tuck these corners. Now, what I'm going to do is, so that I've got a nice thick band across my forehead. Okay, I know you couldn't see that, but yeah, I'm going for a nice thick band across my forehead. I'm just going to tuck that in once. I'm going to raise my needle. Now all I've got is a 1.5 inch seam there. I'm going to fold that round, make sure it's straight all the way round. The machine's just complaining as I'm going through the seam. Straighten it out again, and just keep straightening out and sewing. And if you can only sew a little bit at a time, that's fine. Yes, what I hesitated to say before is I'm making this hat as an adult size, but this is an ideal hat for a newborn baby. And in fact, my local hospital is sensible enough to request them. So the measurements are on the internet. I can post them below, and yeah, it's an ideal hat for a newborn, and they're recommended. Lovely. So I'm just tidying up my ends there because for some unknown reason they're all caught up. So I've got the back of the hat again. Now this is going to be the opening, so the front. I'm just going to pinch the two seams and separate them so that I've got a nice curve there, because I don't want to see the stitches. I'm just going to curve that over. Okay, we can see on the stitches the where the machine was just a bit argumentative, but that's going to be hidden, and I can turn it around the back and I can pinch and tuck the same again. Now if you need a pin just to hold that in place, that would be great. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to straighten from the corner and do a couple of stitches on that seam. Now it's entirely up to you. You can go all the way over the top of the hat just to keep it nice and decorative. Okay, so that's that side done. And it really is just enough so we can keep that band in place. Go over the back, make sure that's all lined up and nice, and those stitches and time will keep the hat in place because there'll be a natural fold. Line it up with the top corner. Maybe I should have put a pin in it. And then just double check that there's no creases or folds in the rim, because if one side is higher than the other, then the material will naturally put a crease in. So there we go, just getting that nice and straight. I'm not going to sew till I'm happy. There we go, happy now. And just a couple of stitches. So how easy is that? Now there's loads of ways you can decorate it. You can leave it as it is, or I should tie my hair up before I started, shouldn't I? You can put a knot in it. Alright, I'm just going to get you back upwards again. Sorry about the vertigo, guys. So there we have a simple bag hat. You can get a band, you can knot it or anything like that, however you like. I quite like having the little fold of the material just to keep it looking tidy. Okay, but it really is up to you. And I've taken the measurements from my own head to sew onto my head. Make sure you leave enough of hem allowance, and yeah, enjoy your sewing. Alright, hope to catch you again soon. Thank you.